Well, hello there, Carney Dynasty League fans and intentional streaming fans. This is your host, Flip, along with, I think I'm hearing crickets in the background. It's just me, flying solo for the night. Jarvis went to spend time with the family, while I'm lucky enough to have my family here. So be sure to hit the like and subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when we're going live. So, for no further ado, let's hop right into the Week 12 show. Uh, the news and notes. Alex Smith, boy, if you guys missed the gruesome broken fibula and tibia, I was just brutal seeing. Only watched it once. Didn't need to see it a second time. He is absolutely done for the year, and there's talk that his career could actually be in jeopardy because of it. Joe Flacco not playing this week. Could this be the end of Joe Flacco? Lamar Miller rushed 27 times for 117 yards, completed 13 and 19 passes for another 150 yards. In the win over the Bengals last week. Kenyon Johnson out for the week. That's going to be an interesting running back by committee going on there. Your guess is about as good as mine who's going to come out of there smelling like roses. Blunt is going to be the goal line guy, but are they going to see the goal line? Ryan Tannehill is finally making a start along with Josh Allen. So that should make some people a bit happy, getting some of their quarterbacks back. Jameis Winston is also going to start. We'll see what's going to happen there. As much as Fitzmagic throws for yards, he's still just a absolute turnover machine. Jimmy Graham, I think he's going to play through his thumb. I'm not for sure. He broke it. How relevant is he with a broken thumb? Probably not really. Brandon LaFell done for the year as well. Jordy Nelson going to move to the number one wide receiver. Do you even really want to be the number one wide receiver in Oakland? CJ Howard again, or OJ Howard again, ends up on IR towards the end of the year. Guy's got so much talent. Big bump to Cameron Brate. For Trubisky being out, Chase Daniels is going to start for him. That really downgrades that entire offense with Chase Daniels in there. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to hold my breath too long on them scoring 20 points. The Lions, I believe they're playing the Lions. The Lions really aren't a good team, but their pass defense, I believe, is 12th in the league. So not completely terrible. Recap from week 11. Flip, Mike, Will, and Shannon all went 2-0. Kroll, Gary, Darky, and Jarvis all went 1-1. Luke, Stefan, Tori, and JJ 0-2. That's pretty brutal for Tori there when he was really needing some wins. Stefan, it does hurt him, but how bad's it going to hurt him? Mike scored 199 and Shannon 206, which big scores right before the playoffs. These guys are not only battling it out for the 6th seed, but they might be battling it out for higher seeds as well. Gary and Tori and Darky, boy, all but eliminated with poor Week 11, scores. Darky didn't score as bad as the other two, but he's just too far back. The closest game of the week was myself and Darky, 9.5 points. Biggest blowout, Will pounding Gary by 79.58 points. High point this week, Will at 219.42. Low points this week, Luke, oh boy, 102.94. Which also is the low score for the year. He took that over from Darky. Tori, on the other hand, was just 4 more meager points above him. Otherwise, he would have taken the honor. Jarvis still has the high point for the year. That was week 8 at 249.21. That's still an impressive score. It's going to be really hard to beat. Let's look at the current standings here. So we have Jarvis still sitting in the catbird seat, 17-4. Will with the double win this week, 15-6. He's got that shot to, he's just a little back on points from Jarvis. So not many. So he's really just 2 games behind Jarvis right now with 4 to go. I come in third seed there, 14-7. Now those 3 wins are going a long ways right now. But you have Stefan sitting down there right now locked into the 4th seed. That could really change. There's Mike and there's Shannon just sitting there nipping at his heels just a couple of wins back. And, a number of points, only 38 points separates him and Shannon right now. Kroll would come in at the 5 seed right now. We'll say, our division's clear up in the air right now. Mike's really charging along. 6 wins. That's pretty big. Shannon right now has the 6th seed locked down. 1897.53. Mike is only 63.48 behind him. And it's really looking like that's a 2-man race right now. But it's just such a crazy scenario here. Stefan could really be anywhere from even possibly getting that top seed there in his division. But that's really, really unlikely. He's just, mathematically it's there. He's 3 wins back, but you throw in the points, so that's 4. Could he win 04 and Jarvis lose 04? Not likely with the schedule. But, Stefan sitting anywhere from that 4th to 6th spot. And there's a little itty bitty outside chance that he couldn't make the playoffs, but that's just so unlikely. It really is. So it's gonna be interesting to see what shakes out. Well, I shouldn't say it's unlikely because Mike's just charging along. Mike's 100 points behind him and 2 wins. But the crazy scenario is Mike does catch him on wins, and Stefan purges some more points. This is a big week for Stefan. Will opened up the gap a little further on the 3-year totals. I believe he's pushed it to about 120. Yeah. It's basically 127. It's that huge win, 219 last week. He's just too strong. Just way too strong of a team. Alrighty. Let's jump right into the supers and poopers. This is where I'm going to give a huge shout out to Jarvis. Even though Jarvis couldn't make it tonight, he still helped out with the itinerary tonight, and which is just awesome. Thank you, Jarvis. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. So with Jarvis's super for this week was none other than Tyreek Hill with Mike. Tyreek Hill was just incredible on Monday night. Just unbelievable. I mean, that could have been one of the easily top 5 best games to ever watch. It was always who was going to score last. So, if I could find Tyreek Hill here. Tyreek Hill did have 10 receptions for 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that's on 14 targets. There's a lot of people that thought he was nothing more than, going to be a gadget player early on in his career, but he definitely showed otherwise. He scored 43.5 points, second 40-point game this year. Week 1, he also had 42.3. Almost had a third 40-point game in week 6, where he had 39.2. He's just lightning in a bottle. Big play potential on each and every snap. He has a wide receiver 1 with 255.7 points. Actually, 21 points ahead of Michael Thomas. That just shows how incredible that is. Granted, Tyreek Hill hasn't hit his bye week, which is coming up this week. So, Michael Thomas probably should catch him. My super for the week was Shannon with Jared Goff. This is a guy that everybody chuckled at that his rookie year on Hard Knocks, where he had no idea which direction the sun rose on. And then, of course, he really flopped his rookie year, but yeah, that's his rookie year. It's no longer his rookie year, is it? So this past week, 31 of 49, 413 yards, 4 huge touchdowns, and the rushing touchdown. Just an incredible game, to pick up the win against the Chiefs. 39 points. Just stellar. This week's pooper, my golly, you could give it to so many players on so many teams. It was terrible. If you weren't taking a 0, you were probably just getting a couple of points. Eric Ebron, 0. I took a 0 out of my defense when they got lit up. Everywhere, a 1.5 points out of Jalen Smith for Jarvis there, his linebacker. Fred Warren, there's a big fat 0. Ooh, well, I think they were on a bye, weren't they? Torrey. But for my pooper, I'm actually going to give it to Torrey's entire team here. Funches, 6. Jeffrey, 7. Zach Ertz, geez, the week before he beat me by scoring 40 out of him, and he gets 3.5. I'll also give a little pooper out for starting a bye week guy, or a hurt guy, And not having that backup linebacker that I talked about earlier in the year and kind of harped on it, saying, hey, you guys, you got to be, having a third linebacker on your team. It's important. And when he needed to score points, he has a little lapse in team management there and takes a big fat 0. So I mean, there were some good games, but a lot of them, not so much. A lot of power outages. Not many close games, unfortunately. When we were previewing this week, we thought there was going to be a lot of close games, and it really wasn't. The score between Darky and I was the closest, and for the most part, I got pretty lucky with his quarterbacks, stumbling around. So let's hop into the waiver wire for this week. Before I get to this, I'm going to be really curious to see, what the minimum bid on Colt McCoy was. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's $300. I put in for 16. I know that's never going to get there, but I thought I'd give it a whirl. Gus Edwards, the guy that all of a sudden came out of nowhere in Baltimore and rushed for 20. I think he rushed for 150 yards on like 26 or 28 carries. I don't remember the totals, but it was crazy. Guy's an undrafted free agent out of absolutely nowhere. And Stefan bids $600 on a flash in the pan guy. I didn't go after this guy. Mainly, Baltimore's got so many running backs there. They really do. Are they going to ride the hot hand with him? So, I don't know. I get it. It makes sense. And, everybody else bid quite a bit on him too. $200, $162.97. There's another $200 out of Shannon. I mean, Stefan really needs some help. He really needed the running back this week, and he went on and got himself one. I was way wrong on Colt McCoy, only 188 by JJ. I really thought it would be much higher than that. Nick Mullins, I didn't even know he was available. I fumbled the ball there. That's a really good pickup on Will's part. That's excellent. Cole Beasley, guy's been hot off and on. It's a good stash for Gary there. That's a guy who's got potential, and so Antonio Gates, I picked him up. I really had to. Jesse James came up with a big fat 0 last week, so I have no faith in Jesse James right now. Plus, I'll get the little hookup with Rivers there, so we'll see. Jamie Collins, fantastic tackler when he's healthy. Buda Baker, I know he didn't really do much for Mike last week. Maybe a 0.5, maybe. I think it was a 0. D Ford, that's an interesting one. I'm gonna assume he must have had a good week or something. Along with Bethea. Steelers defense, that's a nice, or Steelers offense, that's a nice pickup for Stefan there with Boswell. Looks like he's over his kicking woes there. Seth Roberts, there's another one. That's a very good pick for Stefan. I think Stefan's actually got a big problem going on there. he's got picked up 6 players. And I'm going to assume he didn't mean to pick up 6 players. Sorry, he picked up 7 players. There's Chase Daniels. Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know what's going to shake out of that. I'm sure I'll be hearing from him later. So, alrighty. So let's get into the starts and the sits for the week, or the let's go over this coming week. Hopefully you guys got some lineups in there. I can already see Mike does not, and neither does JJ. Both these games right now, it's showing that I'm supposed to win them handily. But, JJ does not have a defense in there. And I think, he'll be swapping out Ty Montgomery for James White, at least. That will pull that a little closer. Hard to really say right now, though. Mike's got 2 wide receivers, big 2 wide receivers with Cooks and Hill out. Me, of course, I'm without Travis Kelce, which is pretty big for me. But Mike will throw in one of those guys, which is actually one of them is my sleeper, and that is David Moore for Seattle. Panthers do have the 20th ranked pass defense in the league. He's coming off an 8-target game, which is a substantial jump from the week before. I think he can pull that off again against the Panthers. Panthers have that good run defense. So, and it's not like Seattle's got a good running team there. So he is my sleeper for the week. My sleeper for the week last week was actually Doug Martin. And he was actually having a really good game until he got hurt. And then he had 52 yards in the first half on 10 carries. He was set for a really good week. Also had 1 catch for 6 yards. The next matchup we have here is Luke and Mike. That's going to get a lot tighter once Mike gets those wide receivers in there. Gordon he's got Gordon and Robinson there. There's 30 points. Robinson's a really risky play right now, though, with the quarterback situation there with Chase Daniels. So that's really hard to say how that's going to play out. I think that's going to be pretty close. A loss and not scoring well from Mike would that would hurt at the wrong time. Kroll and Gary. Kroll's playing for the division here. He's playing possibly even for a first round bye, which is unlikely, but it's still a possibility. Being without Robert Woods, that does hurt some. Gary didn't have any bye week issues going on, it doesn't look like. Kroll's got a sizable lead. We'll see if that really pans out. Gary and Luke. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. 2 guys that will be locking horns in a few weeks in that secondary playoff, for that number 1 draft pick. It's been a tough week or tough year for both these guys. Will against Darky. Darky put up right at 160 last week. We'll see if he can put up a little more against Will this week. Will's just so powerful right now. Coming off that big 219. He is without Hunt, Mahomes, but when you have other fill-ins, he's gone with Richard half the year. Generally gets him 9-10 points. So does he really miss him? Hey, definitely. He is going to roll with two defenses, but Raiders, Titans. We'll see how many turnovers Mariota will have this week. Two more guys that are kind of just just going through the motions of the season. Hopefully, these two will start scoring really good next week when they're probably playing people that are in the hunt for the playoffs, and then start knocking them out of the playoffs. JJ's had a really tough year. I think his injured reserve is stacked full. Losing Geis right away really hurt. He will be, I said this earlier, been throwing in James White. Will it be enough against Stefan? Oh, that's hard to say. Stefan with his 40 guys that he just picked up. We got big matchup of the week, Stefan and Kroll. Right, this is just ginormous for both these guys. Stefan's trying to still possibly get the division. Kroll definitely in contention for that division. So Stefan playing for probably anywhere from 4th to 6th on the seed. Could possibly even not be there. Huge implications. Huge. And Stefan without Gurley. That's his 20 to 40 point guy. We were hoping this one was going to be a bigger matchup. The power outage by Torrey last week doesn't make this as good of a matchup, unfortunately. Will's got those guys on by. He is beatable, but how beatable? They got him at 181, so not easily beatable. Jarvis and Torrey again. Jarvis looking, I believe, if he gets one win this week, that wraps him up the number 1 seed throughout the playoffs. No, I'm sorry. I think he would have to get 2 wins this week, but he's sitting good. And this is where he'll should probably pick up one of those wins against Gary, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there is some good games thrown in here. Big playoff, Mike and I. Shannon's got to score some points this week. That's very important to him. Stefan and Kroll, huge matchup there. A lot of playoff implications. That's probably the biggest matchup of the week. Shannon and Jarvis though. Shannon clawing his way towards the playoffs. Still has a nice point lead over Mike, but that's dwindling. Will it dwindle more this week? Oh, actually, it grew last week. Well, however it panned out. No, Mike picked up points on Shannon. So we will see. That's just going to be really, really fun the next 2 weeks. I'm unfortunately, Gary and Tori did stumble points wise, and Shannon did score good. We were really hoping for just a huge battle royale there between so many teams for that 6th spot, and possibly even that 5th spot now. Just not real sure how that's all going to play out. So it will be fun eating some turkey and stuffing tomorrow, eating everything in sight for a little Thanksgiving with the family. I hope you all get to spend Thanksgiving with your families and get to watch that traditional Thanksgiving football. So, well, sorry the show was kind of a little dud tonight without the always fantastic to listen to Jarvis, but hopefully we'll get him back next week so I don't just roar through the show, just roll on, muttering away. So well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will definitely catch you next week. Hey, thanks for listening to week 12 of Intentional Streaming, and have a great Thanksgiving. Save me a piece of pumpkin pie, and we will catch you guys later. All right.